policies off the freedoms protected in the American Constitution. We believe in and wish to abide by the Second Amendment of the Constitution, the right to bear arms, which is one of our most fundamental rights. Gun control violates American citizens' rights, not only due to the Second Amendment, but also due to the 14th Amendment, which is citizens are innocent until proven guilty, as it would persecute citizens for simply owning guns without doing harm to anyone, as only 0.004% of American gun owners have committed firearm-related crimes. The government has no right to ban citizens for both owning and carrying guns. In fact, it should be encouraged. We believe that the best way to stop a bad man with a gun is a good man with a gun, not with unnecessary screenings, background checks, and complicated legislation that is only due to fail, cost taxpayers more money, and make it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to practice their rights. If an American citizen believes that the best way to protect his or her family is with guns, they should simply be allowed to do so.
The right to bear arms is our constitutional right as citizens of the United States of America. We value our right to defend our families against domestic threats. We also maintain our stance on the right to obtain and store ammunition without registration. Now, we honor the fine American tradition of hunting and are strongly against government restrictions on firearms. The only regulation we approve of is enacting safe gun use policies into law to better protect our citizens against the rise of gang-related crime and terrorism. In the case of crime, criminals will be held accountable for their actions, and we will enforce federal and state gun laws at that point in time. You see, the very best protection against crime in this country is not to restrict the rights of law-abiding gun owners, but rather to protect those rights even more. That's the best way to support our law enforcement, to defend our families, and to improve this great nation that we call home.
From 1968 to 2011, 1.4 million civilian Americans suffered firearm-related deaths. That's more than the total combat-related deaths from the War of Independence to the Iraq War. This data documents an enormous public health problem, compromising the quality of life of many, if not most, Americans. Therefore, there needs to be strides taken to try and regulate guns in America. The abundance of guns is not only a problem in terms of violent crimes and accidental deaths, too. Just this year, 59 children under the age of 3 have access to guns and shot themselves or someone else. As a nation and a federal legislator, we must come together and find a common ground so that we can protect the liberty and well-being of all citizens. We think that the regulation of guns must involve reinstating the assault weapons ban, keeping weapons of war off our streets. We believe that we need more thorough background checks with longer wait times. That can be bypassed by buying guns online or at a gun show. And finally, we believe that if the Terrorist Security Administration believes you're too dangerous to be on a plane, you're too dangerous to buy a gun.
In this country, more than 30,000 Americans are killed with guns every year, and more than 30 people are shot and killed every day. There are 357 million firearms in the hands of American civilians, meaning there are more guns in this country than people. 40% of the people who own guns did not undergo a background check. The 1993 Brady Bill requires a background check when buying a firearm from a federally licensed vendor. However, there's a loophole. At gun shows, unlicensed vendors are allowed to sell guns without requiring background checks or waiting periods. We wish to close this loophole to make sure that the guns in this country are owned lawfully after proper background checks and waiting periods. Of the 357 million firearms, lawful gun owners own 5 to 10 million assault-style weapons. We see no need for the ownership or use of these weapons in this country and wish to renew the ban on assault weapons.
Now is